And there's not a single verse anywhere in the gospel which says that Jesus, peace be upon him, was resurrected. There's not a single verse anywhere in the gospel, which says that Jesus, peace be upon him, was resurrected.
You have to follow what is in red letter. There are many things which are mentioned by Paul, which is not part of the sayings of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. If you know there is something like a red letter Bible. Red letter Bible means whatever Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, said is in red ink. If you quote me something in black ink, I will not believe. Why? That is not the word of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. Do you give more preference to Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, or St. Paul?
Jesus Christ.
What I'm quoting to you is in red. Gospel of Matthew, note it down. Gospel of Matthew, chapter number 12, verse number 38. So don't get me a quotation of black ink. To prove this wrong, you have to get me a quotation in red ink. That's what Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, said. I request you to go home, read the Bible, and when you're convinced, inshallah, come to the truth.
From that time, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed. Yes, Jesus just said that he's going to Jerusalem and that he's going to be killed and be raised up on the third day. Now, watch what Peter does. Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, "God forbid it, Lord, this shall never happen to you." Peter here says exactly what a Muslim would say. "No, Jesus, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not going to die." And how does Jesus answer him? But he turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me, for you are not setting your mind on God's interests, but man's." Why does Jesus call Peter, his most trusted disciple, Satan? He calls Peter Satan for saying that Jesus wasn't going up to Jerusalem to die. Now, Jesus clearly isn't saying that Peter is literally Satan. He wouldn't want Satan as the leader of the apostles. And he's not saying that Peter is possessed by Satan. I don't think Satan knew how God was going to use the crucifixion, so it wouldn't make sense for Satan to oppose Jesus' crucifixion. Jesus is rebuking Peter for opposing the gospel. Peter called Jesus the Son of the living God. So Peter got that part right. And Jesus said that that was revealed to him by the Father. But when Jesus tells Peter that he's going to die on the cross and rise from the dead, absolutely essential for our salvation, Peter says, "No." And Jesus replies, "Peter, you don't know whom you're serving right now." By focusing on worldly things and not paying attention to what the Father is doing through me, you're opposing the gospel. And he calls Peter Satan. Think about this. When you acknowledge that Jesus is the divine Son of the Father, Jesus says that you're blessed and that this was revealed to you by the Father. But when you say, Jesus never died on the cross, Jesus calls you Satan. Which one of those categories is Zakir Naik in? Which one of those categories is Ahmed Didat in? Now, doesn't Zakir Naik know what Jesus said in Matthew 16? Doesn't he know that Jesus clearly said that he was going to Jerusalem to die? Doesn't he know that Jesus called the Muslim apologists' interpretation of the sign of Jonah satanic? Of course he does. And yet he stands in front of crowds of gullible people who've never read the Gospel of Matthew, and he convinces them that what Jesus really said in the Gospel of Matthew was that he would never die on the cross.